Good morning, grade fives. I think today most people are late because we only have 19, 19 people so far. Um, okay, and okay, so my host will be admitting people that are late, and then yeah. Okay, so yesterday, um, oh, before that, okay, I'm Maluleke, guys. So as most of you know by now, I don't see anyone new today. No one has new has joined us. So I'm Maluleke and I take you guys through for maths, grade 5. And then yesterday there was actually an interesting observation from Neo Shongwani. I think it was Neo Shongwani was asking, Ma'am, is it week 6 already? So as I was telling Neo, I said, yeah, it's week 6 since we started with this. So this means that we have actually lost 6 weeks of teaching. But then we haven't actually lost it because at least you guys are able to, you know, you're able to gain this learning experience from STEM lockdown digital school. Okay, so just going through a few rules. So now, as Praise have asked, you're now chatting with me privately, so the chats are not made public. So it also makes it easier, especially when it comes to answering. As I said yesterday, so I'm able to see individual answers because then I don't know if maybe someone is typing because they've seen someone's answers. So it's good. So in class you say no copying. So yeah, so this feels like we are now in class and then people don't actually copy. All right, so your charts also to protect you guys. Um, the charts are only to me and my host. So if anything nasty happens, then it means that me and my host are the only ones that will see the nasty thing. Isn't that good? So you can tell your parents not to worry because you guys are protected. So you're not going to see any nasty comments and so on. And then yesterday we did properties of all numbers, just catching up on yesterday's lesson, especially for those that were not there. We have to do the prior, what we covered before we can come to today's lesson. Welcome to those that are a little bit late, but we haven't started. So we'll catch up for the next 2 minutes so that whoever joins, at least they don't miss today's lesson. So yesterday, guys, we did properties of all numbers. And then on properties of all numbers, we did the identity property of 0, and we said that any number that we multiply by 0 becomes 0, and we said any number that we add to 0 is that number, any number that we subtract with 0 is that number, but then if we subtract 0 from any number, if we subtract any number from 0, it cannot be, so it cannot happen. We also looked at the identity property of 1, and we said that any number that you multiply, because we are doing multiplication, so we base more the properties on the multiplication than on other operations. So we said any number that we multiply by 1 is that number, and any number that we divide by 1 is that number. And then if we add 1 on a number, the number increases by 1. If we subtract 1, it decreases by 1. And then the most interesting other properties that we looked at the commutative property. And then we said the commutative property simple means that if we swap numbers, so if I'm adding 10 plus 5, and then if I say 10 plus 5, I get 15. If I say 5 plus 10, I get 15. Or if I say 10 times 5, I get 50. If I say 5 times 10, I still get 50. So we say that the commutative property only applies in addition and multiplication. So that's the first property that the third one actually that we did. And then we also looked at the associative property, and I showed you how it works. Even if you don't know the word or you don't know how to spell the word associative, but you should be able to recognize it. So we said with the associative property, basically you are given 3 numbers. It can either be addition or multiplication. It also now applies in addition or multiplication. And then we say that the associative property says that if you associate the middle number with the first one or with the last one, the answer is the same. For example, if I have 2 times 3 times 4, if I say 2 times 3, I get 6 times 4, I get 24. And then if you associate now 4 with 6, if you swap the order, the answer is still going to be the same. So that's the associative property. And the last one that you looked at, was the distributive property. And then with the distributive property, we say distributive means to break down or to partition numbers. And then we actually did that with most learners, and they answered in, I think one of them, if I remember correctly, was Lutando. Do you have a Lutando here? Was Lutando in grade 4? So I have two classes, I confused the names. But I think Lutando is here because Lutando answered for multiples and factors. So yes, and then we looked at that distributive method, which is the breaking down. So yes, oh yes, we have a Lutando, I know. All right. So hi guys, hi Babalo, hi Neundlovo, Bunono. Okay, you guys are welcome. So I was catching up everyone. Who wasn't here. So now let's go to today's lesson. Hi Jerome, how are you? Hi Ricoto. Okay, I'll come and greet, guys. Okay, so today we are on our third lesson, and we are doing multiplication. People are late, guys. You don't know how many people I'm admitting now. Okay. Okay, people are late. So I will start either way because we're supposed to start at 9 o'clock, and then I was just delaying. But then now, so today we are doing multiplication using the column method and the breaking down method. Those are the two methods that we are going to look at. And by the end of the day, you are going to choose the one that you love the most and use it. Okay, so at the end of the lesson, okay, at the end of the lesson, you'll know that when we use the column method, we start from the units, okay? And then you'll know that when we multiply by the tens, we have to put a 0 first before we multiply. So the breaking down method, we have used it. And the column method, we have also used it grade 5 we've used it in addition and in subtraction. So the same principles apply. So we work from right going to left with the column method, and with the breaking down method, we'll work from right going to the left. Yes. So we are now looking at multiplication. So you see, it's a little bit tricky. But then if you pay attention, and you guys, I hope you have pens and papers so that you can note things down. Multiplication, I mean, it has 3 marks. Always, you get 3 marks for multiplication, and then addition and subtraction, you get 2 marks, and division also have 3 marks. So it has more marks. So it's imperative that you guys actually pay attention and write down. And now that you guys can know chat to each other, it's good because then you are really forced to listen to me, so you are not disruptive. So in grade 5, KEPS recommends that you must multiply a 3 by 2 digit number. I've explained to you guys, especially those that I started with, I explained what is a 3 by 2 digit number. So in grade 4, you were doing 2 by 2 digits. So maybe this might be the first time that you are doing 3 by 2 digits since, yeah. Okay, and then we are going to refresh your mind. So I'm going to refresh your memory on how we used the 2 by 2 digit in grade 4. Okay, so we are multiplying 22 multiplied by 65. So it's 22 multiplied by 65. So always, it's very important that you guys do the column method. I mean, you do the place value table, not the column method, the place value table. So then this is a 2 digit because we see it's 1, 2 numbers. That's why you call it a 2 digit. And then this also is a 2 digit. It has 2 numbers, right? And then so you do the place value table, and then units, tens. If maybe there's someone who's still struggling on how to do place value, I like also to accommodate those people. I know for some people it's easier, but we don't learn at the same pace. So if you know something is fine, you know it, you are revising now. But for there's those people that don't have the privilege of their school actually teaching them now. So that's why I started from the bottom. Okay, so then we have tens and units, and then we write 2 under units, 2 under tens, and then we write the 5 under units, 5 under tens. So when we multiply grade 5, now this means that 5 have to multiply 2 and 2, and then this is 60, it's not 6. So because it's 65, so it's not 6, it's 60. and then this is 5. That's why I said here 5 has to multiply 2 and 2, and then 60 has to multiply 2 and 2 again. So with the column method, one number has to multiply both the numbers. So when we multiply, then we will say, starting from the 5, you see, starting from here, I'll say 5 multiplied by 2, and then you get 10. So 10 has tens and units. I know most of you may be confused this now. 10 there is a 10 and a unit, and a 10 is 1, a unit is 0. So we always put down the units, but you see on my next slide, we always put down the units and we carry the tens. So we carry the tens to the next number or to the next calculation. So then 5 multiplied by 2 is 10. So we write down 0, which is the units, and we carry the 1. Carry the 1 in your mind. You can write it down also if you want. Write it on the side so you don't forget it. And then now 5 has multiplied the units. 5 has to multiply the tens. Then we say 5 multiplied by 2 is still 10 again, plus that 1 that you carried. Remember, we carried the 1. So we say 10 plus 1. So we only add the 1 on the answer. So we don't add the 1 on the 2 so that it becomes 3. No, we don't do that. We only do that in addition, not in multiplication. So 5 multiplied by 2 is 10 plus 1 is 11. So then you write 1, and then now you see, even though our answer was a 2 by 2 digit, now our answer is taking us to a 3-digit. So now we have hundreds. And then we are done multiplying the 5 with the top number. So now we want to multiply 60 with the top number. But then we're not going to say 60 multiplied by 2. No. 60 has a 0. So 60 is 6 and 0. So the 0, we come and put it here under the units, and we say that the 0 is a placeholder. We can also call it the magic 0. Never forget the magic 0, because if you forget it, your answer will automatically be wrong. Most learners, they forget the 0, and then you wonder why did mem give me a wrong is because you forgot the magic 0. So the magic 0 is coming from 60, because this is 65. So now for us to multiply by 6, we have to place the 0 of the 60 here under the units. And then we can now multiply. And always when we multiply, we have to start from the units. So we say 6 times 2. 6 times 2 is 12. So we write down 2 here, this 2, and then we carry 1. And then we say 6 multiplied by 2 again is 12, plus the 1 that we carried is 13. So when we write 13, you see we first write the 3, which is the units. Remember, we said we write the units first, and then we write the 1. After you are done multiplying, then you can add. So we say 0 plus 0 is 0. 1 plus 2 is 3. And then 1 plus 3 is 4. There we don't have thousands, né? Then we say nothing plus 1, it gives us 1. So even though, because we are multiplying, because I know maybe some of the learners, they have a misconception of addition and subtraction. So though we are multiplying a 2 by 2 digit number, now can you see that our answer is now a 4-digit? This is what happens when you multiply. So when you multiply, we're making it more. We are either in this instance, we are making 2265 times more. So do not see a multiplication and then add. If you add, then it means you don't understand the operations. But I know there's some learners that confuse the operations. So when we multiply, we're making 22 times 65. We're making 22 65 times more. So yeah, so that is what you guys did in grade. Okay, all right. Okay, all right. Okay, someone is telling me, I won't say who, because remember this is private. Someone is telling me, ma'am, I struggle. Okay, it's okay. That's why I'm here, ne? That's why I'm here. Hence why I'm saying that, hi, Jeremy. Oh, okay, I've already greeted Jeremy. So that's why I said, if you find it easier, okay, Praise says, headed does multiplication with her, which is good. So if you do multiplication tables, it becomes easier for you to multiply, because if you don't know the multiplication tables, you say, for instance, 3 times 5, and then you say 8, whereas 3 times 5 is 15. So you see why it's important. So you have to put in work. Your parents also put in work. The teacher also puts in work. But who has to work more? You have to put in more work, especially when it comes to the times table. So you should be singing the times table, ne? Grade 5s. Okay, so we're going to look at multiples of 10 and 100. So there is the trick I said yesterday, it's a trick. The trick when you multiply using multiples of 10 and 100. So we already know that when we multiply by 10, we add 1 0 on the number. And when we multiply by 100, we add 2 zeros at the end. For example, 24 multiplied by 10. So I wanted to give you the trick before we can estimate. 24 multiplied by 10. So we'll say 24. So if we break 24, we say 24 is, sorry, if we break 10, so we say 24 multiplied by 1 here, so this one, which gives us 24. And then because we are multiplying by 10, we add a 0 at the end. So 24 times 1 is 24, then we add a 0 at the end is 240. And then 10 multiplied by 154. So we do the same thing. We say 154 multiplied by 1, which is the same. Remember when we did the properties, the reason why I did properties, identity property of 1 is because of this. So then now we have to apply it. So any number that you multiply by 1 is that number. And then we add a 0, which is 1,540. And then 24 multiplied by 100 now. So 24 multiplied by 1. So we go back to the identity property of 1. Any number multiplied by 1 is 24. And then because we're multiplying by 100, we just add 2 zeros at the end. And then the last one is 154 multiplied by 100. So then you say 154 multiplied by 1, which gives us 154. And because we are multiplying with 100, we just add 2 zeros at the end. And then the answer is 15,400. So I said yesterday, for those that were not here, when it comes to mental maths, because we do mental maths every day in class, when it comes to mental maths, it helps to know these properties. It helps you to know them because then you don't take time multiplying, you just apply the knowledge. So now, because you know that any number multiplied by 1 is that number, you're not going to multiply. And you know that if we're multiplying by 100, I just have to add 2 zeros. So you don't actually multiply, and it makes it easier for you to do. Okay, I see Ricoto. I don't know if you are actually raising your hand or it is by mistake. Okay, let me see what Ricoto have to say. Okay, Ricoto, let me find you here. Okay, Ricoto, you are unmuted. Unmute. Oh, I can't unmute Ricoto. Okay, there. Yes, Ricoto.
Can you go to the previous slide?
Or to the previous one. Okay. Be there so that you tell me why I should go to the. Okay, here. I'm there.
Man, I don't understand the place value.
Okay, Ricoto. Don't move away. I'm not going to unmute you. Ne? I want to take you through. Okay. So the numbers that we have, Ricoto, I just took you back to grade 4. Ne? So this is a 2. Okay, so 22 is, so when we do place value, then we say 2 is under units and this other 2 is under tens, right? Because it's 20 plus 2. Remember, 22 is 20 plus 2. So 2 is under units, and then the other 2 is under tens. So if we look at 65 here, 5 is a unit, and then 6 is a tens. So that is place value, right? And then when we multiply Ricoto, we have to multiply. So we are multiplying 5 with this. So we multiply 5 with the unit, and we multiply 5 with the tens. Then when you come here to the 6, I said it's not a 6, it's a 60 because this is 65. So it means it's 6 tens. 65 is, 60 is 6 tens. And then 5 is 5 ones. It's either you call them ones or units, right? So
Yes,
when we
ma'am.
multiply, this 5 has to multiply the units because this is 2 units, and it also has to multiply the tens. The tens is 20 tens, so 2 tens is 20, right? So then we'll say 5 multiplied by 2, and then we get 10. So we write the answer, because 5 is multiplying 2 and 2 is under units, our answer have to be under the units. And then when we come here to 5 multiplying 2, which is the 2 of the tens, our answer have to be under the tens. You see what we did here? And then same when we come here, I said because 6 is not a 6, it's a 60. Then we first have to put a 0 under the units to show that we are multiplying with 60. Then 6 will multiply the units and then our answer, you see our answer then shifts. So on the second part, our answer on the place value, the answer would not be under that place value. But on the first one, if we are multiplying with the units, the place value will be under each other. But then we're going to do more. There is more on the second from the last slide. I'm going to unmute you again and then you tell me if you understand or not. Ne?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so this one was an example. Just pay close attention and then you'll see we are doing more of these, then you're going to understand them, my boy.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'm going to mute you again. All right. Okay, so let me go back to, okay. So, and then I continued there. I said, what if we don't have 10 but 20 or 30? This you'll see, I'm explaining this so that when we come to estimation, you see why I explained this one. So if we're multiplying 20 times 25, so 20 is 2 times 10 because 2 times 10 gives us 20. So you can just break down that 20 and then we say 20 is 2 times 10 and then now you take the 2 and you multiply with 25. So we say this 2 that we broke down, we say 2 multiplied by 25 and then 2 times 25 is 50 and then we add that 0 of the 10. So now the answer is going to be 500. And then the second one is 40 times 15. So we break down 40, 40 is 4 times 10. Then we say 4 multiplied by 15 because when we break down, it becomes easier for us. It becomes easier for you to actually multiply. So then we say 4 times 15, which gives us 60, and then we just add the 0. Okay. Yes, no, you are right. Okay, Tafika says, I must go back to the blue slide. All right. Okay, Tafika, on this one. Okay, Tafika, maybe I should unmute you so that I can see what I must repeat. Tafika, if you can just raise your hand. Am I going back because you want to copy something, or should I go back because you want me to explain something? Tafika? Okay, let me look for Tafika. So Tafika, I am going to unmute you, ne? You said I should go back to the blue slide. So Tafika, you are unmuted. Tafika, you can talk. Yes, no, I've unmuted you. Unmute. Okay, why can't I unmute Tafika now? Okay, you were unmuted. Okay, it's fine. Tafika, but you are unmuted.
Ma'am, I wanted to say, please, I wanted to copy.
Oh, you wanted to copy?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Did you manage to copy now?
Yes, I'm copying.
Okay.
It's done.
Oh, are you done? Okay. And also, Tafika, okay, before I mute you, I don't know, what are you using? Are you using a phone? What are you
No,
using?
I'm
I use
using a laptop.
Oh, a laptop. I don't know how to screen grab on a laptop. Okay, maybe you can ask daddy or mommy how you can screen grab or on a laptop, ne? So that they can screen grab for you, ne? Okay. All right. So I went back there so that Tafika can see. All right. Okay, so then I was explaining what if we are not multiplying with 10 or 100 or yeah. So as I was saying, so you break down that 20 or 30 or that 200 or 300 to make it easier for you to multiply. So I was here on the 15. So if it's 40 multiplied by 15, so we break down 40. So we actually partition 40. So if we break down 40, it becomes 4 multiplied by 10. Then we can take this 4 and multiply by 15. So if I say 4 multiplied by 15, the answer is 60. Then we add the 0 of the 10. You see that? We add the 0. So we add the 0 on the 60, and then the answer is 600. And then what if it's not 100, but we are multiplying with 200? Because now you guys know that if we're multiplying with 100, I just add 2 zeros on that number. But what if it's not 100, but it is 200 or 300 or 800? So this is what you do. So if we're multiplying, remember now we are doing 3 by 2-digit numbers. So it's 200 multiplied by 75. So what you do is you break this 200. So if we break the 200, it becomes 2 multiplied by 100. It becomes 2. Okay, I see the hands raised. I'm going to check who, you can just let them be raised like that. Let me first explain it, then I'll come back to your hands. Okay, so then we say 2 multiplied by 100 because it gives us 200. Then we take this 2 and we multiply it with 75. So if I say 2 times 75, I get 150. Then do not forget to add the last two numbers. So on one, I mean the last two zeros. So on 150, then you add the last two zeros, and our answer is 15,000. Can you see that if you were just multiplying 200 times 75, it was going to be very difficult, because then you have to either use the column method and whatever. But if you use this one of breaking down the multiples of 100 or 200, it becomes easier. You can do this in literally less than 5 minutes. So that is why I am showing you guys this one. So every time you see you are multiplying by 300 or 400, just break down that 300 to be 3 times 100. And then you take the 3, you multiply with the number, and the answer that you get, you just add 2 zeros. And same applies if you're multiplying with 1000, but we're not going to look at that today. And then the last one is 400 multiplied by 12. So you break down 400. So then you can see I said equals to 400. So 400 is 4 times 100. You see, this one is, we know it. And then we take this 4 and we multiply it with, we take this 4 and we multiply it with 12. So we say 4 multiplied by 12, and then we get 48. And then we just add the 2 zeros on the 48, and then voila, the answer is 4,800. So before I can move on to now the gist of the matter, let me see whose hands is raised. Okay, apparently I'm supposed to see. They said, oh, okay, then it's Ricoto. Okay, Ricoto, I have. Okay, so Connor, your hand is raised. I hope it's not by mistake. I'm going to unmute you.
Can you please go back to the blue page?
To the blue one.
So you see the little
Okay, all right. Okay, so Connor is asking also that I go back to the blue one. Okay, so here's the blue one. You can screen grab that one. You can screen grab it. Let me unmute him. Connor?
I wanted to ask a question.
Oh, okay. I also thought that, yes, you can ask.
By example, yeah.
Okay, there is noise on your background. Okay. Can move away from the sound. I don't know whether it's the TV or maybe your parents talking. If you can move away from that, then I can hear you, Connor.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, it's better. It's better.
So I want to ask a question about the example. Is that two separate questions and answers?
On which example, my dear? On which example?
At the bottom, yeah.
Which one? The one for which one? For 24 times 10 or for 10 times 154? For which one?
Are they both separate questions? 24 times 10 and 10 times 154.
Yes, they are. They are separate. They are separate.
Right.
You can see, yes, you can see 24 times 10. We are just multiplying by 10. And then this one is 10 times 154. Then the next one. So these are examples that I was giving you. And then this one is times 100. And this other one is also times 100. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4 different questions. Yeah. It's 4 different examples. Are you fine now?
Yes.
Okay, all right, Connor. Okay, I've muted. Okay, all right. Okay, so where were we? Let's go back to where we were. Okay, so now we come to today's to what you guys are actually supposed to be doing. Oh, Faith. Okay, Faith. Okay, 5 hands is raised. Okay, there. Yes, Faith. I'm trying to unmute you. Unmute. Okay, Isibo, if you can just unmute Faith for me now. I can't unmute her. I'm trying to unmute. Let's see if I can unmute. Okay, sorry. I was trying to okay, Praise, you unmuted. Let me go to
Yes,
Praise.
ma'am.
Yes, Praise.
Ma'am, I wanted to answer this. I wanted to answer this.
Oh, you wanted to answer this. Okay, all
Yes.
right. I'll come back to you. Let me
Okay.
mute you and then you can answer. Mute, Praise. I'll come back to you. Let's see what. Oh, okay. Faith is gone. Okay. Okay, Praise, you can answer. It's fine.
Okay, ma'am. So we say 5 times 4.
Mm-hmm.
It's 20. So we
Mm-hmm.
add
How did
as
you get 20?
we
How did you get 20? I had 20. How did you get 20?
by by knowing my 5 times table.
I didn't hear you counting till 20.
Ma'am, I was.
I didn't hear. Count again.
5, 10, 15, 20.
Okay, all right, it's 20. And then?
We add a 0 and then carry over our 2.
Mm-hmm.
And
Let me
then
add a 0 for you there. Ah, okay, there is a 0. Okay. Uh-huh.
and then we say 5 times
Mm,
7.
it's
But
27. Mm-hmm.
we add our 7
Mm-hmm.
and then we carry over our 2.
Mm-hmm. There is the 7 for
And then we say 5 times 2 equals
mm-hmm.
10.
Mhm.
Add our 2 is 12.
Mm-hmm. I should put the
And then-
12.
Yeah.
Okay, there's the 12. Mm-hmm.
And then we add, since our 2 is actually 20, we add a 0.
Mm-hmm. There.
And then we say 2 times 4,
Mm-hmm.
8.
Mm-hmm.
And then we say 2 times 5
Mm-hmm.
is 10.
Mm-hmm.
Carry over our 1. 0, carry over 1.
What do we write down?
We write 0.
Mm-hmm.
And then we carry over our 1.
Mm-hmm.
And then 2 times 2,
Mm-hmm.
it's 4.
Mm-hmm.
Add our 1.
Mm-hmm.
It's 5.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And then?
Then we add them. 0 plus 0 is 0.
Mm-hmm.
7 plus 8, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 is 15. So we just put our 5 and then carry over 1.
Mm-hmm.
And then 2 plus 0 is 2. Add our 1 is 3. And then 1 plus 5 is 6.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. Okay. Before you leave us, Praise. Okay, I allowed you because you were eager to answer. Okay, so this is the multiplication. But before we multiply, we have to estimate. So the blue slides that people wanted me to go back, I actually was teaching you so that you guys are able to estimate. So when we estimate, we are estimating 254. Sorry, we are calculating 254 times 25. So remember, I said when we estimate, we have to round off. So when we round off 254 to the nearest 100, okay, let me just mute you. There is noise on your background.
Sorry, ma'am.
No, it's fine. I'll just mute you. Okay, it's fine. So thank you, Praise, for answering. So Praise is a step ahead of us now. So going back to the estimation grade 5s, remember when we did addition, we first had to estimate. So estimating is very important. So now So we round off 254 to the nearest 100, and then the answer is 300. And then now we are multiplying 300 multiplied by 25. You see that? So then 300 multiplied by 25, if we use the breaking down method, now we are using the breaking down method on the 25. So we say 300 multiplied by 20, and then 300 multiplied by 5. So this 25 is now a 20 and a 5. So remember what I taught you now. So we say 3 multiplied by 2. So I take this 3 and 2, I multiply them together, I get 6. And then I count how many zeros do I have in total. I have 1, 2, 3 zeros. So on the 6, I just add 3 zeros. So this means that 300 times 20 equals to 6,000. You can also write it down. And then here is 300 multiplied by 5. So what you do is you say 3 times 5, which is 15. Okay, Faith, I see your hand. You do the next one for us if it's not a question. So you say 3 multiplied by 5, which is 15. So you write the 15 and then you count how many zeros do we have in total? We have 2 zeros. So then the answer is 1,500. So if you add 6,000 plus 1,500, you get 7,500. So this is an estimated answer. This is not the actual answer, it's an estimated answer. So when you estimate, you are actually reinforcing your rounding off 1. Number 1, you're reinforcing rounding off. Number 2, you are reinforcing breaking down method. Number 3, you are also reinforcing factors and multiples there. So you're doing everything when you're estimating. That's why I always say estimate first. So our estimate also tells us how far are we, or how reasonable our answer is going to be. So if the estimate is 7,500 and our answer is 6,000, so this means that we actually did multiply correctly. We actually multiplied correctly. Okay, so let me see if I'm now able to unmute. No, it was Faith. Faith, did you raise? Okay, it was Faith. Let's see if I'm able to unmute you because Shem, poor girl, has been raising. Okay, you unmuted, Faith.
Ma'am,
Yes, Faith.
ma'am, I'm not
Yes.
really sure where we are.
Okay, we are now, remember we said today we are doing multiplication using the column method and the breaking down method. So
Yes, ma'am.
on the previous slides, I was showing you because I didn't want us to estimate and then I don't show you the shortcuts of multiplying numbers like
Yes,
300. So
Yes, ma'am.
on the slides, I was showing you how we can multiply. So here, for example, 300 times 25. Okay, so the number, the actual numbers that you're multiplying is 254 times 25. So when we estimate, round off. So when we estimate, we round off. So here we rounded off to the nearest 100. So
Ma'am.
254 rounded off to the nearest 100 is 300, right? So we have done
Ma'am.
rounding off. Yes. I'm still with you.
Ma'am.
I'm here. You can't hear me. I'm here, Faith. Naledi, I don't know. I don't know how you screen grab on a laptop. I still have to. I know, but I've forgotten. I'll tell you. It's control something. Ne? Okay, so what happened to Faith? Faith, are you still with us? Faith. Okay, can the others hear me at least? Tell me that it's not me. Can you guys hear me? Okay, you couldn't hear me, but can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Not. Okay, Naledi can hear me. Rikoto can hear me. Okay. Okay, I need to, let's see if I can. Oh, was I glitching? Ugh, this network. Okay. All right, you guys can hear me now, right? Okay, let me just re-explain. Not. Okay, who can't hear me? Let's see. Jordan family. Okay, others are saying they can hear. Tafika says yes. Okay, Jibrail can hear me. All right, Elena can hear me. All right. So maybe if you can't hear me, I don't know. It might be your side. Okay, Ricordo said yes. Oh, okay, good. So it means that, okay, let me just re-explain for Faith. So on the previous slides, let me just go back to the previous slides. You know, I want people to actually understand what to do. Okay, so these are the previous slides that I think maybe are getting people a little bit confused. Okay, so here on the previous slide, I wanted to show you guys how easy it is to multiply numbers without actually multiplying them as we are seeing them. So the first one that we have there is 20 multiplied by 25. No, man. Okay, so it's 20 multiplied by 25, right? So instead of you multiplying 20 with 25, instead of multiplying it as you see it, you can break down 20. So when you break down 20, it becomes 2 multiplied by 10. Why is it 2 multiplied by 10? Why are we breaking it like that? Because remember we said that you know that any number that you multiply with 10, we just add a 0. So on the 20, we are just looking to separate this 10 so that we are able to add that 0 on the answer, right? So then 20 becomes 2 times 10. And then we can take this 2 and multiply it with 25 because we're multiplying with 25. So if we say 2 multiplied by 25, we then get 50, right? 2 times 25 is 50. And then we add this 1 0 of the 10 on the 50. So the answer is 50. Then we add a 0 at the end of 50. And then the answer is 100. So it is easier if we break down the numbers according to the multiples of 10, or according to the factors. We can break down according to the factors, or according to the multiples of 10, if it's 10, 20, 30, for example. So now let's look at the second one. It's 40 multiplied by 10. So if I break 40, it becomes 4 times 10, right? So 40 is 4 times 10 because I know 4 times 10 gives me 40. So why am I breaking it to be 4 times 10? I want it to be easier for me to just multiply with this 4 so that the answer that I get, I can just add a 0. The 0 coming from where? From this 10. So then 40 is 4 times 10. Then I say 4 multiplied by 15 now, and then it gives me 60. Then I add the 0 on the 60 so that I get the answer. So if I add a 0 on the 60, the answer is 600. And then I said, what if it's not 100, but it's 200, 300, and so on? So we do the same thing. We are multiplying 200 with 75. It's not going to be easier for you to multiply 200 with 75 if you're not using, say, the column method and the breaking down method. So what you do is you break down 200. So 200 is 200 multiplied by 100, right? Then we take this 2 and then we multiply with 75. So we say 2 times 75, so this is doubling. So we double 75 and then we get 150. Then 100 have 2 zeros, so it means that we add 2 zeros on the 150 and the answer is 15,000. And the answer is 15,000. Okay, I think I'm going slow, Thomas. Am I too fast still? And then looking at 400 times 12, then, or maybe is it, am I talking and you guys are writing at the same time? Because if it's like that, then we'll need more than 45 minutes. Remember, we're trying to work within the 45 minutes period. Also, you can go back and watch the videos, I think, on the website. Okay, then we have 400 multiplied by 12, right? So we break down 400. So if we break down 400, it becomes 4 times 100. So then we take this 4 and we multiply with 12. And then 4 times 12 gives us 48. Then because we're multiplying with this 100, we add 2 zeros at the end. So if we add 2 zeros at the end, we have 4,800. We have 4,800. So that is how we do it. So I said I am showing you this so that when we come here on estimating, before we can multiply, because we are multiplying using the column method. So before we can multiply whatever method that you're using, we have to estimate. Okay, let me just drag this down. All right, so we have to estimate, and when we estimate by rounding off. So I said because we are multiplying 254 times 25, we have to round off 254 to the nearest 100. So if we round off 254 to the nearest 100, the answer is 300. So this means that we are now multiplying 300 with 25. We're multiplying 300 with 25, and then we break this 25. If we break it, now this is the estimation part. Don't get confused between the estimation and the actual calculation. So if we break down 25, it becomes 20 and 5. So then we say 300 multiplied by 20, and then we say 300 multiplied by 5. So 300 multiplied by 20, for you to, because you're not using calculators. So for you to know it, you simply say 3 multiplied by 2. So this 3, where's my mouse? 3 multiplied by 2 is 6. So you write down 6, and then you count how many zeros do you have? We have 1, 2, 3 zeros. You add them to this 6. So 300 multiplied by 20 is 6,000. And then now we want to multiply 300 times 5. So we say 3 multiplied by 5, and then we get 15. Then we check how many zeros do we have? We have 2 zeros. So then we add 2 zeros on the 15, and the answer is 1,500. Then we add 6,000 and 1,500 together, and then we get 7,500. And this is an estimated answer. So what you're going to do, grade 5, because our time is up. Tomorrow, this is slide, because I see we might, okay, so this is slide 6. So we're not anywhere near done with our work today. So tomorrow we are going to start from slide 7. What I want you to do, go home and practice how to round off and estimate. So practice this, and also practice when you round off, you see that when you round off our number that you rounded off, it will either have a 0 or to have 2 zeros. So when we round off, we're going to have either a 300 or a 200 or whatever. Then you break it, then you'll see it's going to be easier for you to multiply. So tomorrow we're going to start from here and grab something, grab a pen and make notes and everything. Then we'll continue from here. We're not going to move on until you guys understand. I know there's learners that understand, but then for those that don't understand, we are not going to move from here. So I'm going to see you guys tomorrow. Using the platinum again, you can even make up some numbers. You can make up some numbers and then round them off and then break them down the same way that I've shown you. Then we'll continue tomorrow. Our time is up. I think I've gone over 3 minutes. Okay, so you guys, I'm going to see you tomorrow. Okay, someone says, before I go, to screen grab, you use, okay, if you are using Windows, okay, that is Pearl answer. If you are using Windows, you use the Windows icon and type in snipper tool, and then you should be able to, okay, the snipping tool. Okay, I have a snipping tool. So, okay, so you guys, you can use the snipping tool to screen grab. I think there's another way, but I'll tell you tomorrow. I'll research this one and then I'll come and then I'll type it actually on the lesson on how you should screen grab. Because I think it will be easier if you guys are screen grabbing things, then we don't have to go back and then you guys copy and everything. So bye guys, please be early. Today most of you were late. So tomorrow, can you please be early so that you are on time and you don't get lost and then I have to re-explain if you were late. So okay guys, bye, see you tomorrow. We are continuing from here.